How to finance every property deal. Let's talk about how you can finance your next property investment deal. If you like this video or any of my videos, smash the like button below, subscribe to my channel for more amazing videos. So let's get to this. There's so many people that are looking to invest in properties. They thought they require a ridiculous amount of money in order to start their property investment journey. So if you are one of those who've been actually thinking about it or believe this is the concept, I'm here today to actually share with you how you can finance every property deal to ensure you do not actually put all your money in one property deals. Let's get to this. Well, in order for you to be a property investor, you need to understand how to buy properties, and you need to also understand that you need other people's money in order to build your property portfolio, especially if you want to rapidly grow your property investment portfolio. You need to understand how you can finance any property deal to ensure these property deals are succulent deals that will bring you amazing return on your investment. So let's get to it. In order for you to be able to finance a property deal, you need to understand what sort of properties that you need to acquire in the first place. That's one of the first things you need to learn. The second thing you need to understand is what strategy are you going to implement that would attract specific type of investors. Are you looking to buy a rent-to-rent property deal? Are you looking to buy a rent-to-salvage property deal? Are you looking to invest in buy, refurbish, and refinance and rent? Are you looking to actually develop a project? So you need to understand those sort of strategies in order for you to pinpoint what you want to do, so to attract the right sort of finance for your property deal. So once you understand what strategies you want to go with, let's say in this example, you want to go with the buy, refurbish, refinance method. So you know that's the strategy you'd like to execute. The second thing you need to kind of work out is where about do you want to do that investment? Is it in Liverpool? Is it Birmingham? Is it London? Is it Cardiff, Newport? Wherever that location is, you need to pinpoint that location to understand where you are investing. So what you then need to do is to learn about that area. Go out there, start looking for deals, and hopefully then you'll be able to see a nice buy, refurbish, and refinance property deal. Then you approach the seller. If it happens to be an estate agency, an auctioneer, approach them, and then obviously you then tell them you're interested in that property. You go and view that property. Once you view the property, if it's one of the properties that you're really interested in, you then start the negotiation process, okay? So what do I mean by negotiation process? What I mean is basically once you've got that property, you need to come and kind of agree on the price of how much you can buy that property. If you're an experienced investor, if you've been watching my videos, following my tutorial, you should know that then you'd have to negotiate in order to buy these properties. So hopefully you would negotiate on that and agree on a price, and then you close that deal. Now you get to the most important part. Once you've agreed on closing that deal, hopefully by this time you would have been networking with different individuals. So you're letting people know about who you are and what you're doing. So then you've got this. You've got exposure to different type of finances. The number one exposure you may have is what we call angel investors. It's where you can approach individuals, could be anybody, to tell them about what you do and about the deal itself, because you'd have to understand what sort of deal it is and whether that deal is actually attracting to investors. Hence the reason during negotiation process, you would have analyzed the deal, you would have understand how much money you need to renovate the property and how much money you need to put down in order to buy that property, as well as how much money the bank may be able to lend you in order to be able to buy that property, or what sort of money you need to actually acquire that property. So then what then happens is you'd approach the first person you may want to approach, which is one of the lowest hanging fruit and also cheaper option, is to approach an investor, an angel investor, someone who's got money. It could be a doctor, accountant, lawyers, barristers, or entrepreneurs or business people that really have money and they don't like the money sitting in the bank doing nothing. They'll rather invest that money with someone for an amazing return on investment. So you can look for people like that. You may be thinking, where do I get these people, Rahim? How do I get to these people? Well, it's about telling people about what you do by going to networking event, going to property event, property investment trainings, etc., etc., and obviously posting what you're doing online so people would know exactly who you are, what you do. That way, once you start presenting deals to them, they will kind of understand what you already do. The second way you could actually finance that deal, again, this is where due diligence is very important during your negotiation. You may be able to get a finance from the vendor itself. That's what we call vendor finance. This is where the actual owner wants to sell this property. They couldn't sell it at the price that they wanted it at. You were able to negotiate and then actually ask them to lend you the money. I know this may sound crazy, but you ask them to lend you the £25 deposit in order to buy the property. That is perfectly legal. And then obviously they may be able to lend you that money in order for you to buy that property. And then once you bought that property, obviously you may be paying interest on that loan as well. That is actually another way you could get an investor to invest with you. The third way is equity. So what do I mean by equity? The equity I'm talking about here is the equity you have in your existing home. If you're lucky enough, you're able to buy houses maybe 5, 6 or 7 years or even 3 years ago. If you bought that house, that house, if it was the right house, would have gone up in value. So what you could do, basically, you can look at that house, understand what the loan is on that house and how much equity you would have got from that property by property prices going up. You look about what chunk of money you may be able to withdraw from that property in order to fund your existing deal. The fourth way would be loan. It could be any sort of loan. It could be a bank loan, for example. If you're working really good and you've got a good credit rating and you approach the bank, sometimes they may be able to lend you money in order for you to put down to buy a property, right? And the fifth way of getting this is what we call, the most common way would be mortgage. This is the process by which you approach a normal bank or a normal lender that normally processes buy-to-let mortgages to kind of fund your deal in order for you to be able to put the 75% down to buy that property. That is the normal traditional route of actually buying a property if that property is in a livable condition and doesn't require lots of work. And the sixth way of raising finance is what we call bridging loan. Now, let me explain to you what bridging loan is. But before we get to that explanation, let me tell you what bridging company is. A bridging company it's usually lenders that lend money in a short-term basis in order to allow you to buy properties that are not inhabitable or properties that cannot be mortgageable. As the word said, it's a bridge, okay? It's a bridge. It allows you to move from here to here. Because it's a bridge and there is a bit risky, they don't know if that bridge is going to fall off or not. It's kind of a bit expensive to kind of raise money that way. But there are bridging loan companies out there that are very perfectly happy to lend you money in any sort of property deal, especially if that property deal is a property deal that you can add significant value to, where you can renovate it. They may be more than happy to lend you money on that because they then know you may be able to pay them back after you've done the works. And it's a very expensive type of loan. So if you're gonna get this sort of loans, whatever you need to do in that property, you need to kind of get it done ASAP before your interest rate start creeping up. And the seventh way of raising finance is what we call a purchase lease option. Suppose you want to buy a property, right? And you haven't got money to buy that property straight away. And you've got a landlord who really wants to sell that property, but they're not desperately looking to get that money now. They're just struggling because maybe they can't manage the property. And secondly, they may have just inherited that property. And for whatever reason, they don't want to deal with that property. So what you could do then, you can approach landlords like that. Tell them, listen, I'm happy to buy your property at this price for some time in the future. So if you agree a price on that, if you're a clever investor, you can acquire that property that way without actually buying the property itself. And what you do next, right, is to take that property on, do all the stuff you need to do on that property, rent that property on a monthly basis or however way you want to rent the property out. And what you do, instead of spending your proceed or your profit, you save that profit, right, in order to be able to put down as a deposit when your options expires. Some normally you can take maybe 3 or 4 years, sometimes 5 years or 7 years. That allows you enough time to save to buy that property. So I hope this had helped you understand that you don't really need that money. There's so many avenues you can take advantage of in order to be able to start your property investment journey. If this video has been helpful, don't forget to hit the smash button below. Subscribe to my channel for more amazing tutorials. I look forward to sharing next video.